Okay, so Gerri, this is why I love us already, because in 2.2 seconds, I get Gerri's connected all over the Lower Mainland. Artistry family members, model parents, race car drivers, doctors, raised by the grandparents, work for Air Canada, is auditioning, volunteering. I mean, it's already just 5 minutes sitting down together. You're already so interesting and so dynamic that I'm so glad you're here today. And the reason why I wanted to sit down with you was primarily in the volunteer aspect to talk to you a little bit about that. Hello and welcome to ILO On Location, the podcast, where Irene Karasloper, that would be me, your host, goes on location and sits down with amazing women I have met over my lifetime, friends, colleagues, people, sometimes strangers. Today I'm here with a friend and a recent colleague. We are at the Massey Theater where it all started. Miss Gerri Torres is joining me today on my podcast, ILO On Location. Welcome, Gerri Torres. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
I'm currently sitting in the atrium of the Massey Theater where Gerri and I had the privilege, the gift, and the pleasure of meeting on my most recent performing show, 9 to 5, the musical, by Royal City Musical Theater, directed by the amazing team of Valerie Easton and Chris Adams. And I'm currently in my Royal City Musical Theater t-shirt of 9 to 5 that Gerri organized for all the cast and crew to have a t-shirt. So welcome, first of all, Gerri. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So Gerri, first of all, let's just talk a little bit first about the volunteering aspect of your career. And the reason why I want to start there is because that's how you and I met.
Right.
And my season 4, ILO On Location, Ready for More, is highlighting how to live a healthy mind and spirit in any way, shape, or form. And having grown up in an artistic family with my amazing, legendary mother, Andrea Karras, who gave her life volunteering to a theater company, the Jericho Art Center, always amazed me. Why, who, what, when, where, how. When it's volunteer, you're getting nothing back, but you're getting so much back.
Right.
So I thought we'd start up with the volunteering. How do you feel about that?
Sure.
Right?
That's good.
Gerri. Gerri looks so beautiful today, sitting across from me in a butterfly blouse with bling, full hair makeup, and then, just told me she's got an agent and doing self-tapes. I'm like, welcome to the business, honey. Welcome to the business. Gerri, tell my listeners when and why you got started in the volunteer world of RCMT, which looks like it was around 2015. And you've been volunteering for over 8 years or so.
Yeah. Well, I've always loved the theater. I love the energy of live theater. And actually, I joined Repertory Philippines way back when I was still in university. And then when I came to Canada, I did a few shows, one with Footlight Theater and the other one with GVOS, Greater Vancouver Operatic Society.
Okay.
But then, I got busy with work and kids and everything. So that all, went to the background. And then I thought, and then I started working and everything. In 2015, I don't know why I got this, all of a sudden I thought, you know what, I want to, I think I want to go back into it again.
Yes.
And they were auditioning for My Fair Lady.
Oh.
Well, and I had taken voice and dance and everything in the past. So then I thought, why don't I try it? But then it had been a gap of like so many years in between already since my Footlight. So I went and I auditioned, and of course I froze. And I don't know, my second song, I wasn't happy with it. And then of course Val had the dance section.
Oh, it's Valerie Easton?
Yeah, it was Valerie.
Oh my God,
so she teaches you all this choreo, and then you have to do it. And I thought, okay, well, I tried, but of course there were much more, there were better ballet dancers in there, and they were younger and they were more energetic. And I thought, oh gosh, my feet are getting all like twisted and everything. So I left there feeling, I thought, I'm sure I didn't get it because they're all so talented. But then on my way out, I saw Chelsea Carlson, and she's so sweet. And I just said, I really enjoyed this. And if ever you need anything, like in the future, I would still like to be part of it in any way or form. So So I just left it at that. I knew I was going to get a call. I mean, because of my performance. I knew I wasn't going to be in the cast.
Well, you did it. Number one, you did the audition. Number two, you put yourself out there because you had a passion that you wanted to reignite.
That's true. And then she reached out to me by email. Then she said, we need an assistant stage manager if you're interested. And of course, I thought, I don't know anything about stage management. Like, what do you do? I mean, I would love to be, but I'm not sure because I've never done it before. Yeah. So she arranged a meeting. So she said, well, why don't we meet and talk about it? I'll tell you exactly what needs to be done and this and that. And, we're just so happy you're interested. So I went. At the time, she did have an office here in the theater, in Massive Theater upstairs. Yeah. And so we talked about it. And she said, she says, all these things you can learn. And she says, as long as you're willing to learn, she said, there will be another ASM who's done it before. Yeah. Her name was Courtney, and she had done the show before. So she had done Annie.
Oh, Annie's a good one too. Hannigan. Yeah. I could play Hannigan. RCMT, are you listening?
She had done Annie. So they said, Courtney Bettnin. So they said, Courtney's worked there before. So she'll tell you what to do. And, we just need another ASM, like one for each side. So I said, okay. And then and then Chelsea was so sweet. And she actually got me this book and a stage management book. Oh. And she said, here you go. She goes, I have a book here. If you want to read through it, think about it. Yeah. She said, bring it home. Yeah. Read the book and see if you're still interested after reading the book, then, let me know.
Yes.
So
you read the book.
I read the book and I thought, it's, I think I can do this because it's organizing and getting everybody together and the stuff that I did at Air Canada because I was a lead at the gate. So, I organize all the info and, get all your team together. So I thought, I think I can do this. So I said, I'd like to try.
Yes.
And that was it.
Oh my God. Okay. So Gerri, you are retired now or you're not?
I took an early retirement package in 2021.
Okay.
After COVID. During COVID, of course, everybody was laid off.
Yes.
And it was just very senior agents working at the airport. It was 25 and up, 25 years and up. Everybody else was laid off.
Yeah.
And so we were all there throughout the whole COVID. And so when COVID was over, the company decided that they wanted to bring back the junior people.
Yes.
So then they decided to offer
offered out
senior people packages. So I took it in 2021.
Amazing. Some of your best work, I'm sure. But you were volunteering in the world of the theater before retirement.
Oh, definitely. It was, I've always taken morning shifts because, for the kids and everything.
Yes.
The odd times I'd work night shift would be if a person needed help or asked me, can you cover for me? Or, or, if the operation was crazy and I said, Gerri, can you stay? But mostly worked morning shifts.
Right.
So what I would do is I would go for my day shift and then sometimes, like my husband would always say, because as a lead, you never get to leave on time.
Right.
So he'd always say, you never, like, why do you always stay? How come you're never off at a certain? And I go, I can't because things happen.
Yeah, then
flights
you're
are
in
delayed.
charge.
And I said, I can't just walk out and leave. Like, there's no way. Like, and it's funny because there'd be times when, ideally, if I'm off at 4:30, then I could go home, change, and then run here for 6 or 6:30. But then there were times when I'd be stuck at there. I'd come here in my uniform.
Yes.
And then just like, guys, I'm sorry, I'm in my uniform.
Oh my God, I probably love that.
I'd go for rehearsal in my uniform. And so that's how it was. I'd go straight and then I wouldn't get home till like about 10 or 11 at night. And then I do it all the time. Like do it 3-4 times a week. And
wow. As well as being a mother to your 2 boys or 3 boys?
3 boys and 1 girl.
3 boys and 1 girl. Okay. As well as being a wife, and a partner. And a friend. But this is the thing. You're a parent, you're a career woman. And on top of that, you're finding the time to volunteer. And this is what I think is important because you are passionate about something and that void or that area in your spirit perhaps wasn't being ignited or activated while you're dealing with, probably a lot of annoying passengers.
This is my happy place.
Yes.
Like I would be at the airport and, being a lead agent, it was like one day, like I'd have 3 people lining up to yell at me, just complaining to yell at me. And it'd be so crazy. And although I did I loved working with my colleagues. Like we felt like a family. We all helped each other, jumped in when we needed to. Everybody was fully capable. And, I knew that they all worked well. We all worked well together. It was, in a stressful environment, just the fact that I could come here to a place where everybody loved to be here. Like they're here because they want to be here. Yeah. A lot of them are volunteers. They're not paid. So
right.
all these people from all walks of life. We had a police officer once. We had a doctor who pager that kept his pager kept going off, and he kept having to run out and answer his pager. Mostly we have teachers.
Yeah, all types of people.
And they all come together because they love to sing and they love to dance. And this is their passion. And for me, it was just such a happy place because everybody was here because they wanted to be here. It was such a positive energy.
Yes.
You know, they come here, they do their craft, they're happy, they're all together, they make friends. And so that was my escape.
I mean, it's my happy place too. You leave your stuff at the stage door. You park your car, you enter the stage door, and you call it church or your happy place. And here you, in the theater, connection, community, passion, joy, challenges. I mean, there's ups and downs in any rehearsal process. Anything can go wrong at any time. But that was what kept your passion fed, because it sounds like you had a history in the Philippines. Tell me a little bit about your artistry history as a singer and a dancer. Where was that? Back home, growing up as a young woman, or?
Yeah, well, I've always loved the theater. I've always loved going to shows, but really the play that really stuck to me was when I was 15 and my dad took me to, they're playing our song. I love that show. You know, in my mind, I keep thinking one day I'm going to produce that show. I'm going to bring it back to the Philippines. I love that show. My dad took me to it, and it was, it
resonated with you. You felt connected.
And
you
I
watched
thought, wow, it's so cool. Like the way they were able to get it out with such a small cast, and the songs, they just stuck to me. And ever since then, I've just been hooked. Like I've been wanting to watch every show.
Yes. Every musical you go to,
every musical.
Movies, Wicked, whatever is Snow White, whatever's on stage locally.
Yeah.
So see, you and I have that in common. I always say, God bless musical theater. I've said it 100 times again. You can have the worst day of your life and just go and sit back and see a musical and feel better when you leave.
Right.
So you and I share that.
I do love that.
Yeah.
I do love that about it. It's just such a, I love the energy of the theater. It's so positive.
Yeah. Did you sing and dance? And because it looked like you were in a choir.
Well, of course, you know, like Filipino families, like my mom had me in everything. Like she had me in ballet and she had me in Hawaiian and jazz dancing and everything and piano.
Okay.
Then I took guitar for a while, and you know, it was just like it's funny because like thinking about it now, I know they mean well, but it's like they push you, and like on the weekends it was like, oh, you have all these classes, like when you're not in school, like you have all these classes. But
is that the culture, the Filipino culture, very musical, just as families?
Yeah, just musical. Yeah, music is important. It's very important. Like you know, we had a piano at home, and I was expected to play the piano.
Yes,
and practice every morning, and then I found it interesting. I took voice when I was like high school.
Yeah.
And then I just really enjoyed like going to voice classes and singing and then the dancing and everything. And that's why first year university, I joined Repertory Philippines.
Yes.
And I worked with some people. I met some people, which I still know today, which is really nice. And
incredible.
I still support them like every time. Like now they're doing Come From Away.
Oh, amazing. But okay, so you've always had the art sort of growing up.
And I studied. I graduated from literature. Well, before I came to Canada, I was an instructor. I taught lit forms, which are literary forms, like the different forms: prose, poetry, comedy, short story, drama, tragedy.
Wow!
Yeah, but just for one term, and then I came to Canada
as a teacher for children, or high school, university.
University. Like I was an instructor. It was weird because I was so young. I had just graduated, and then my professor offered me the job. So then I took it, but it was hard because like my students were my age.
Wow. Were you gifted as a young woman, just ahead of your times with education? And
well, I was never accelerated, if that's what you mean.
Right. Okay.
You know, my sister was, not me.
Okay.
But you know, I think I did pretty well.
Yes.
Like, you know, I won a gold medal for my thesis.
Wow.
I wrote a thesis on, there was this very famous play, Portrait of an Artist is Filipino.
Okay.
And I concentrated on the women's roles.
Thank you.
Like in that book. Like the strong women in that, you know, in that story. And I spoke about the women and how, you know, how they influence the story.
So all your life you've had these connections to the arts, whether it was the show with your dad at a young age or in the home, maybe a little more pressure from your parents than you would have liked to excel or certain areas. But whatever, the arts has always been in in your energy, keeping your spirits lifted and keeping you attracted and drawn to it. And when then you moved to Canada, how did you get from your home to Canada?
Well, my grandparents immigrated here first.
Okay.
That time during the Marcos era, like, it was almost like they say a dictatorship. And my grandparents at the time, they were business people and they had made a good business for themselves.
Yes.
And there was a time when Marcos was like just taking all the businesses from like he took the electric company from his family, or he took this, like he would just, and my grandpa had heard about it. And so he decided that he sold everything overnight.
Wow.
And they just, with my grandma, and they just, first they thought Australia or US or whatever.
And they picked Canada.
They picked Canada.
Oh my God. Okay. Gerri, let's talk about this for a little bit. Very interesting to me. Connection. My mom and dad were born in China, Shanghai, China. My parents, my mom's father had a carpet business.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's father had a tobacco business. My parents met as children, were in family friends. My dad's 10 years older than my mom. War came. Bye-bye, everybody. Off we go. 100 years later or whatever years later, they both met up.
Oh my God.
They both met up accidentally in Victoria, fucking BC. Okay. Yeah. My mom was dating one other guy, living her best life in Victoria, Sylvia Hosey, all these fun people. My dad was in the Navy. They found each other and married many years later.
Wow.
But,
so cool.
but their circumstance, which I hear from, so many families that have immigrated to Canada through our parents, the different way of life. So when you say you come from this history and it sounds like your grandparents made a decision, I don't want to be involved in this. I'm going to get out now, cash out, off I go. And they picked Canada.
And my grandma said in the beginning, Canada would restrict the number of Asians.
Wow.
So it was so hard because they were like the only Asian family.
Yes. So wait, tell me, did you leave your mom and dad behind? Because you said to me earlier you were raised by your grandparents and your mom was a model.
This is crazy.
And your dad was a race car driver.
I was raised by my grandparents.
Incredible.
On my father's side. These are my grandparents on my mother's side that came here.
Okay.
So I was living with my grandparents on my father's side, who were both the doctors. They were both doctors.
Got it.
My grandpa were
Got
doctors.
it.
Yeah, my dad has always loved racing. Like at a young age, like he started racing, but then he'd always say he's been born in the wrong country because he said Philippines doesn't support racing. Like you have to pay for everything and it's expensive. He goes, other countries they encourage and so he loved to do that. As a little girl, I remember we had a few go-karts at home and he would take us on it, like put us on his lap and go, and we would watch him also on the racetrack. But he was more into rallies, like they did rallies, like where they would go like cross country and get all dirty and the cars would break down and they would have to fix them in the middle of. And in fact, he won the Gadol Rally, I think in 1976, which is an Asian thing. And he and his partner won it. They were driving for Toyota and they won it. And he won this big prize and he took us all to Hong Kong. That's all I remember because I was in high school and he's like, "Oh, let's go shopping in Hong Kong." Okay.
Yeah.
Because Hong Kong was, Philippines, it's only an hour and a half, right?
Right.
It was this, like a stomping ground.
To shop
everybody
and
went there.
Yes.
And came back, no problem. It was like our Bellingham. Kind of.
Yes.
Right?
And before Trumpy shut us down.
Everything. Yeah, it was like our Bellingham. So we all went to Hong Kong and I remember that. My mom was a fashion model for this famous Filipino couturier who has passed away since then. But she went to London. She went to school in London. Like my grandparents sent her to school in England. And then when she came back, she was doing some modeling. And I remember as a little girl, like she would teach me how to walk down the runway and turn and hold a coat and do all these things, right?
Yes.
They were, I'd say, star-crossed lovers. They met so young and they were so young and they were so passionate, but they were also, it was like hot and cold. Like there was no in between.
Got it.
When they were so in love and they were so into each other, I remember like we'd be watching TV and before you know it, they're like in the couch, like, and my grandpa would say,
their passion.
My grandpa would say, "Can you please, guys, not in front of the kids."
Yeah. But passion and fire.
Yet when they would fight, it would be so bad. As in really bad.
Yeah.
So they split when I was 8.
Okay.
And so then my sisters and I were split up as well. So my sisters grew up with my grandparents on my mother's side and I grew up with my grandparents on my father's side.
Okay.
But we'd still see each other in school and stuff and still see each other. But the reason why I was with my grandparents on my father's side was even ever since before. My grandparents were both doctors. They had all boys. They had 4 boys, but then they lost lost, they had 3 boys. They lost one. So just my dad and his brother, and they never had a girl. So when I was born, I was the first girl. Oh, wait, I have to tell you, like, there's so much to say.
I love it. We've got all the time in the world.
My mom and dad eloped because my mom was 17. My dad was 21. And she said the reason was they were coming out of this motel. But she swears they were just talking. Like, what were you doing in the motel? Oh, we were just talking. Your dad and I were just talking.
The language of love.
But it was funny because she was coming out, and then she looked behind her, and the car behind her, it was her older brother and his girlfriend.
Oh my God, busted.
So she freaked out. So she looked and she goes, oh my God, I can't go home. They're going to kill me. Yeah. And my dad was like, oh my, what are we going to do? And so she goes, I can't go home. You can't bring me home. And it so happened, my grandpa, a doctor, was entertaining some doctors up in the mountains. Like, they had this house, like it's like Whistler, like 2 hours away. Yeah. And he was entertaining some doctors. And so my dad panicked. So he just drove up to that house.
God.
So he's like, and so in the middle of the night, my grandpa says to him, what are you doing here? And he goes, Pa, I can't bring her home. Her parents are going to kill her. Like, he goes, what are we going to do? So then my grandpa called the judge that lived down the hill.
Thank you.
And he came with his robe and his wife.
And married
them.
Oh my God.
So that's how. And she was 18 when I was born.
Because that's what you did in those in those days. There was no.
There's no way.
There was no.
She could never go back because it's like her virtue was gone.
Yes,
her virtue.
Right.
Like nobody would care for her anymore. Wow. So that's how they ended up together.
Yes. Yeah. So love brought them together, passion. But of course, when you're so young and you're not, just a kid, you're going to see each other differently as you get older, and probably have some, like you said, some aggressive, heated arguments. Yeah. So for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But that took you on a different journey, because would you not have ended up in Canada had you not been with your grandparents when they had the opportunity to kind of cash out and relocate? Did all the siblings come with the other grandparents, or was it you and?
It was all the siblings. Well, my grandparents, from my mother's family, when they moved here, then they took everybody. Because they came as investors and everything.
Yes.
So they were able to take the whole family.
Yeah.
So they took everybody.
And now you're here in Canada, and then you set up
my
life.
sisters are all over. Like, I have one sister who had a boyfriend in Manila, and she couldn't leave him, so she overstayed, so she lost her thing. So she's there. Yeah. Then one sister married, and two married Americans. So one is in Seattle and one is in Chicago.
Okay. So you had you immigrated to Canada, and you started your life here, your career here.
I immigrated to Canada, but I would still kind of like go back and forth.
Yes. Okay.
So then, I met him in the Philippines and everything. And then I brought him here.
Okay.
And then the children were born here.
Okay.
So my kids are all born here.
And your education and your teaching in lit.
That was in Manila.
Yes.
It was only one SEM, then I had to come here.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, baby, don't you. Okay, and because I saw also that travel has always been something that you're passionate about, and that perhaps got you through to apply for the airlines?
Well, I love to travel. Well, I live with my grandparents who are both doctors.
Yes.
And when I was little, they would go to conventions all over the world and take me with them. And there's one time we went around the world. My grandpa was he was the first urologist in the Philippines. Actually sent, he's very gifted, very smart. He was sent by the Philippine government a long time ago to train at Johns Hopkins.
Wow.
And he was telling us stories that in the 40s, when there were no air flights yet.
Yes.
He went by boat.
Wow.
It took him 2 months.
Oh my God.
To go to Boston and to study, and then 2 months to come back.
Wow.
And that was because my dad was born in 1940, so that was in 1940, before the war.
Wow.
So
that's what marriage was like back then too. Mm-hmm. You see your wife, you go away, you go study, you come back. Like sometimes you're not even have both your parents together while your mom's having babies, right? Like
that's right. Yeah,
they gotta go make money or go get educated.
Grandpa wasn't there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Oh my God. So then when you find your way here in Canada and you start your career at Air Canada.
Well, I applied my very first job was was at Shirley K Maternity downtown.
Oh, okay.
And then Expo 86 came because I speak Spanish, because my grandparents spoke Spanish at home, like my father's parents. Because I spoke Spanish and I had that extra language, I applied and I got a job at Expo 86.
Oh my God.
So I worked for Telecom Canada Pavilion, which was like very, very exciting.
Telecom.
And if you've seen the Circle Vision movie,
yes,
like we had that, the Portraits of Canada.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was the one. Like I was in a yellow jacket and a blue pill hat, like explaining the whole exhibit.
Oh my God. So you speak Spanish, Filipino,
and English. Yeah.
I mean,
I wanted to learn French, but I do speak a little bit, but I don't consider myself that good.
Oh my God.
I can't, yeah.
Okay. So Expo 86 opened you up to this experience that.
That I love. It was, I really enjoyed it. In fact, I even got a tourism award then.
Thank you.
After that. Yeah. And then, so it opened me up to that. And then I thought, why don't I apply for it? Oh, and then I applied for an airline. I had an aunt that was working for Canada, and she said, well, why don't you work for an airline? I'm like, I'm not sure. Like, maybe I'll do, I was more of a teacher, right?
Yes.
I thought maybe I could go back to school and become a teacher. She said, just put your application in. I put my application in, and then at the same time, Cathay Pacific was also hiring, so I put my application in for Cathay Pacific. And I got both interviews in the same week.
Oh my God.
And I thought, oh my God, okay, Cathay Pacific will allow me to go back to Manila regularly. Like, oh my God, like the training was in Hong Kong, and then I'd be back and forth. Like, this is so perfect. But then my husband at the time, we discussed it, and I thought, maybe I should work for Canada, because we're in Canada now.
Right.
So we have to, this is our life. This is where we are. We have to, he goes, maybe Canada will open up more opportunities for us, because we will be able to fly within Canada. And although Cathay at the time was offering a little bit more, Air Canada was a little bit less, but eventually it would go to be the same level.
Yes,
like it just went up slower, but this other company offered you more. So in the end, I chose Air Canada.
And smart decision, because Cathay is not around any longer, and Air Canada is international. Yeah. So wow. So when you were Expo 86ing, I'm assuming your artistic side was thriving, talking to people, being the pavilion, hosting, having your outfit. So that you were obviously excelling in. And I would imagine that your energy would transition into your Air Canada career, because it's a people position.
Well, that's the thing. Yes.
Right?
And customer service and people and
So then you get that position, and that's how you start your career. And you were with Air Canada for how many years?
34 years.
34 years. And this is when you now start your family, raising babies, and that, and during those 34 years while you're starting your family, is there time for artistic creative outlet? Or did you wait till your babies were a certain age that you decided to come back?
I waited for it.
You waited.
Waited.
My mom did the same thing. I remember my mom getting her first part at United Players Theatre Company in the kitchen. She got the phone call. I was in grade 7.
Cute.
She did the same thing. She was a homemaker and then went back to her passion, and then, but still wanted to be home with the kids and be a mother. That was a huge indicator and a passion for her.
But I still love theater. I remember I was just thinking about that. Like I was working part-time. We're living in a basement. Yul Brynner was coming to town for his last King and I told my husband, we have to buy tickets. And he goes, they're so expensive. Like, I don't know if we should. I go, no, we have to go. Like, I don't care.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And did you?
I did get to see him in his last tour because he had cancer.
And I mean, how much was a ticket? Probably $12. Now it'd be $300.
I know. But at that time when you're,
of course.
You have like, how old were it? Like I had one child, and then we're living in a basement suite, and I was working part-time. And,
it's big money back then.
I know.
Of course it is.
I can't really afford to watch a show, but I know I want to.
It was important to, that was where your heart was. Yeah. So then with your Air Canada, as we all know, it's funny because my Auntie Angie, my mom's best friend, who she met in frickin' China. This is
in China.
Okay. Hello. This is what we're talking about. Crazy the world, right? Auntie Angie, of course, retired and is older than you by many years, but travels the world with her daughter. Aisha would go with her all over the world.
I told you I was with her in Japan.
Yes! And this is the thing. And then, of course, at our 9 to 5 show, you have a house full of 45 of your Air Canada staff.
Well, that's the thing. I feel so fortunate that they all support me. But then we all grew up together. Like, as you said, we all had our babies together. Our kids are the same age. We all went through divorces together with, because I'm now with my second husband. So it's like, we all that's why we were a family.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We were a family. So they always, every time I have a show, oh, Gerri, we'll go, and it also becomes a reunion.
Yes,
for everybody to see everybody.
I love that.
So we all ate at Stefano's.
Yeah, I see that.
That's why I ran there. That's why I couldn't do the first, the first potluck. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't be here.
Yes, yes, that's right.
All there.
Our amazing
potluck. Every
potluck.
year they support me.
Yeah,
and I'm just so grateful that that they think of me that way, that they would come to to be with me. So I just feel really lucky.
The art connects people. They come to see you and a friend, but also see a beautiful show. That's why the living live theater is so important to have for young children. The fact that you were introduced to it as a young child, I think same with myself and our family, same thing. It's such a huge gift to give to a child, because again, it keeps your creative spirit going, but it also will connect you for life forever.
Right.
You can always go and meet at the theater with a friend.
No, and I think that music is really, it's for the soul. Like it lifts your soul.
Yeah.
Like, it's just everybody needs music in their lives.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
But you're moved and you feel just watching.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're traveling, I guess every now and again you might get a date to the theater or musical theater or stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, in fact, I want to go back to New York and just watch everything there.
I would imagine you can with your buddy pass. You can just hop on and do a weekend.
Let's go.
I'm available. Let's take ILO on location and go visit my girlfriend Tara in New York, and we'll go and interview theater celebrities. Okay, I'll add that to our list.
Okay.
Healthy mind and spirit. But so I just feel then that your volunteer work, you put yourself out there. Any age in our industry, in the entertainment industry, whatever side your creative passion, whether it's writing, singing, dancing, any age, any point in your life, any size, shape, form, there's something for you. Whether it's a dance class at Harbor Dance for beginner ballet, whether it's community theater, volunteer, anything, you can reignite your passion in BC, which is the blessing that our community theaters do.
We're really lucky here.
Our community theaters, not so much the union houses where you have to have a skilled trade. So the volunteer people come together, as you said earlier, it's just to connect and be with other people who are happy and wanting to be here. Is that the draw for when you meet the people here? Like apparently RCMT has over 80 volunteers of all ages.
Everybody's volunteering, like all the
Wallace and all these people bringing beautiful lunch buffets to the cast. And
so sweet.
Oh my God, and the swag, we got these gifts. Is it the RCMT family that has been connected all these years with Chelsea and yourself and Valerie?
Yes, but the thing is that family is getting older, right? So that's the thing now.
Yes.
That's the hard part. Like even Wallace, like he wasn't as active this year as he was last year.
That's right. They're aging up.
Yeah, he stopped. Yeah, and then I don't know if you met Sandy. Sandy is amazing.
I met quite a few people. There's the beautiful lady with the short, Helen Mirren haircut that was backstage with Tony.
Oh yeah, that's Sandy.
Okay, is that Sandy? Yeah,
she's been doing it.
A little firecracker
forever.
Yeah,
So New West has a lot of if you watch the Nutcracker,
yes.
Every year they have the Nutcracker here at the Massey.
Yeah, and it's all volunteer. But do you find that for Healthy Mind and Spirit as well is not just so much the action of being a stage manager with the responsibility,
it's the relationship with the people.
Relationship with the people.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. It's just and I guess also working for an airline has helped me be more sociable. Like I can talk to anybody.
Yes.
Like, sometimes I see somebody, this old lady, like if she looks lost or whatever, then I go up there, excuse me, ma'am, are you lost?
Yes.
You talk to everybody. And it's funny because my best friend in New York, she lives in New York in Chelsea. And when I go, I stay with her.
Yeah.
Her mom was one of the first, she was one of the group of first flight attendants of Philippine Airlines. And so she lived in New York and I used to talk to her. And she says, tell me, Gerri, us airline people, we talk to everybody.
That's right.
She goes, that's just the way we are. She says, it's in our nature. Like we just want to help and we want to offer customer service and we just want to, like wherever you are.
I love to chat. I love to talk. Same as you. I'll talk to anybody, anywhere. If I see somebody's alone in the crowd, I'll go and talk to that person. Same thing. But that career set you up to be and used your skills of being outgoing and connecting to others. Wow. That's incredible, Gerri. No, baby, don't you?
To say, like of all the going back to 9 to 5, like did you see him? I think it's the first time I ever watched a show.
Okay.
For the first time.
You told me that backstage.
Like all the 8 shows that I've done, always been from the side. But then Zoe was kind enough to, and I gave her my notes, and the day before I briefed her, and I had highlights and everything, and she did fine. But the whole time I was so worried, like, oh my God, what if they don't hand her this?
That's right.
Like, you know.
Well, you're in the audience.
I got to see it for the first time. It blew me away. And you, I could just feel Violet. Yours, I could always hear. It was very clear. God. And I thought, yeah, you were an excellent Violet.
Thank you so much. I would make sure that Chris Adams and everybody in frickin' Vancouver is listening to Gerri Torres. Thank you very much. But Gerri, thank you. That means a lot to me. I had the best time. It's a dream role. I've had my eye on Violet for some time. The fact that it resonated for you behind the stage and in the audience, that means a lot. And you've seen a lot, especially here, working hand in hand. But when you talk about backstage and you mentioned Zoe, and earlier you mentioned the younger generation, like we had all ages in our volunteer team behind the stage. As far as even when I would come out after the show and see some of the volunteers here, there are some younger gen coming in, the Elenas and the Zoes and the Alex and the Caitlins.
Right.
Like, did they come here because they want to connect, they want to learn and want to create, or are they here because their school program says you need to have hours? Like, I'm so curious. Did you, by chance, know that answer?
Well, sometimes, like for the backstage, we do get students from Douglas.
Yeah. Okay.
And
for work experience.
Right.
Yeah.
It does count.
Yeah.
But in this time, Elena is the daughter of
Stephen,
who's very involved. Like he was the past president of RCMP.
Got it.
She keeps calling herself a nepo baby.
She's a nepo baby. She'd be hiring me, Elena. You better be listening. Yeah.
So and plus now she's in theater too.
Yes, of course.
So
she's
I bought
queen.
a ticket to her show. Like
Me too.
I try my best to encourage. To
me too. And are you always backstage on stage right or stage left?
Yes.
Yeah. So for all my lovely listeners, one time Irene would place her water bottle, pink, of course, on each side of the stage because I have to hydrate. And one day I didn't fill up my water bottle, but Gerri took it upon herself to fill it up for me, which again, just that thought to think of me and take the time that it took to go down and fill my water bottle, which is another thing I remembered about you, is not only are you volunteering for the organization, you also took it upon yourself to care about one of your lead actors who might need a sip of water when she came off stage. That just to me tells me the type of woman you are as a giver and
it's important though. I mean, it was one of my duties. I figured, like because the water bottle's there, I might as well make sure that there's something in it.
It's nice of you because it's not your duty. I
know it's not my duty. Like it's not my duty to make
so
coffee and everything. But it's like I just if I can do it, why not? Right?
Yeah, I love that attitude, and I just think like that's again another example of just why theater is such an amazing place to have for any community. I mean, with film sets. They're so transient.
Yes.
Often we get the same crews. I work behind the scenes in film as well. And, you lucky if you get to work with the same team, but it's never the same space. You're always constantly on location. Yeah. But the theater, I can go, or you can go any day or time. You can always come here. And there's either someone you know or someone who knows you. And I noticed that with your Facebook, Gerri, not only are you a community giver and clearly excelled at your career and as a family member, but like socially, I'm like, girl, like I had a lot of people come see the show, but you know who had more? Gerri, like you had more people come and see ours. I think you sold more tickets than I did.
Like at one point, like there's 400 people all working together.
Incredible.
And it's funny because even my husband, he works at Costco.
Yeah.
And he gets people that come up to him and they go, "You're Gerri's husband, aren't you?"
Okay.
And he goes, people just come up to me and like it feels like we know you because you're always she posts about you. So he goes, "Okay, your friend Esther was here today, and your friend so and so was here, and your other friend was here."
Yeah. But it connects you for a social life. Mom and dad, my dad's 93, my mom's 83, my mom, same thing. Dad would stay home and she's at the theater. it's a social aspect as well. Friendships that you've developed over these years, and going for dinner and getting out of the house and getting a break. And there's something to be said, I think, that keeps a spirit young and vibrant is that you're not lonely. I'm sure like you have a husband and children, so you're not lonely, but there's a different feeling.
I've always managed to find time to make myself happy.
Yes, that's important.
Whether it's shopping or whether it's traveling.
Yes, Gerri, I mean, honestly, I think it's so exciting because, for you to tell me at this show, this is the first time you sat in the audience. I was blown away that not only are you here volunteering your time, now I'm learning sitting across from you that you've done that while you had a career and raised a family at points in your life. And then that you hadn't sat in the audience to see the show you volunteer for. And this was the first one.
Yeah, never. And also, I guess this year we had more people backstage. Usually just one stage right, one stage left.
Oh, okay. It's a bigger team?
Yeah, just a bigger team.
Well, it was a hot show. So remount, Chris or Val or whoever,
it's
RCMT.
A really good show. Like, I never heard of it before.
Yeah.
The songs are so catchy.
Yeah, it's a really good show.
Songs. Like,
and also, everyone's desperate to connect. I think people want to connect. So if it's a position of volunteer, great. Have something to do, and it's so important. Yeah. And you do get something out of it. And in my opinion, you're making connections and networking and friendships. Those are lifelong.
Yes.
There's no price on that. Yeah. We're connected forever. We're all on the same level. We're all here for the same reason. Connect and be courteous to everybody that's under the roof of the church.
Right.
I'm not super religious, but I call it my church. I used to call Oak Ridge Shopping Mall my church.
Oh, really? I love Oak Ridge.
My best friend and I, we would go every Sunday, go shopping as young girls. Yeah, I mean, just buy me a condo there, Gerri. How about that?
Yeah, for $3 million. Okay.
For $3 million. So, Gerri, this is where I say amazing. Your life is full. You're not slowing down, Gerri. And, you're having a good time, which is keeping you living a life with a healthy mind and spirit.
No, I'm really grateful. Like, I'm living my best life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, through all the good and the bad, I mean, it's been a good life.
There we go.
So I can't complain.
No, we can't. So when you say a comment like that, I say, that's why I do the podcast, and that's why this season I highlighted healthy mind and spirit. And you just envelope that to me based on what you just said. You're living your best life. You're not slowing down. Sassy at 60, sexy at 60, Gerri, right here on ILO on Location. So thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast at the beautiful Massey Theater, where we connected, and we will be connected forever. Thank you so much for being my guest.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you as well. Thank you.
Yay! On today's episode of ILO on Location, the podcast. Thank you all for listening and tuning in as I sit down with my fantastic guest of honor. And of course, thank you to my amazing, talented musician nephew, Connor Wilkinson, aka Passion Mango, for providing all of the music for ILO on Location, the podcast. Of course, you can follow Passion Mango and listen to Passion Mango on all of your social media platforms and all of your music streaming platforms. They are A-list. We'll be back for more episodes all season long. Season 4, ready for more.